positive aspects of my life today. I choose to focus on that which I want to see grow. I cease concentrating on the negative things in my life, and I concentrate on the wonderful things, for I know they are coming into reality. As I concentrate on the wonders and beauty and the grateful things in my life, even more is drawn to me. That is my point of power. I see the miracles of life, and I realize that I am part of all that is, and that I live and move and have my being within this amazing field of pure potentiality that I call God. I make a habit today of approaching life with the right mind, with the right thoughts. I am joyous. I am expectant. I have absolute faith that only the very best is for me. Over and over again, I hear the still small voice that says, I want only the best for you. So today I choose to allow only the best. I choose to be number one. I deserve it. I am worthy. Today I choose to think in a wholehearted way rather than a half-hearted way. I choose a new way of being and thinking. I know that Spirit wants all the best that I could ever possibly hold and have. So today I allow it. Today I have learned to put first things first in my life. All the very best is mine now. I know that as I do this, I give others the permission to do it as well. I choose to leave worrying for others. I know the how is up to Spirit. I know that God can. So I choose to accept and allow and have faith. I know where my faith and belief is. It is in my oneness with Spirit. It is in the knowledge that Spirit is all there is. I know my security lies in the supportive, loving embrace of the universe. Today I choose to get my values straight. Today I use meditation to see clearly how I am supported by the universe. Today I find the perfect balance in life. I raise my consciousness to greater heights. I live a wonderful life every day, connected to Spirit, in the flow. I know the kingdom of heaven is within me. It is waiting for me to recognize it. I know this to be true. I believe it. I see it in my everyday life. I know the kingdom of heaven is a state of mind. I know it is within me. I choose to open myself up to see even more of how I am connected, how my life can be heaven today. I know I can bring about anything I really desire. My every desire is of the very highest and best for me. And I know that what is good for me also benefits everyone else. I choose the desires that are the highest and best for everyone concerned. Every day, I learn to control and discipline my thinking. I know that I have achieved a lot already, and I am a student of life. I continue to get better and better in my thinking. I choose to move forward with a clear intention to persevere and to be patient. I celebrate my successes. I know that every day, a little bit more, I am able to control and discipline my every thought, word, and deed, and I bring about the most wonderful results in my life. I am working with the law of the universe. I am in the flow. I am a walking miracle, or as I like to say, a walking natural. Today I have a deep desire to make it work. I have the faith and belief that it can work. And I have a definite vision in my consciousness. I see it working out step by step. And then I release it to Spirit to bring it to me in my highest and best. I start right now to do everything that has to be done. And I have the right attitude. And I see what happens. I see everything working out in true perfection. And I always give thanks. I know that gratitude keeps the door wide open. I know that gratitude enables more and more to work out in my life. My life is filled with joy. I know the universe always says yes to me. I count my blessings every day. I know how amazingly blessed I am, and I give thanks. I know that gratitude works like magic in my life. I have seen the transformation in my life and continue to see it every day. I know that life is indeed what I make it. And because of this, my whole attitude is always looking for the best in every situation. I am a real optimist. I am a realist. I have proved it for myself, and I expect the very best in everything I undertake. I know that I can do it perfectly, for what is mine to do is always in front of me for me to choose it. So today I look at my life and see where I need to change. Now I am willing to change. I'm willing to change my thinking, my behavior, my attitudes, to allow for my best life to unfold. I learn to change, and I change quickly. I choose to move forward with clear intention. And I know that every change is indeed for the very best. So I relax and I let go, and I let Spirit take over. For I know that I am in the flow of the universe. I know that it is already done, and so it is.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center here in Hamilton. To everyone here in the sanctuary, we're loving your presence. And to those of you who are online, welcome to another Sunday, very special Sunday to spend with us. My name is Marcia Daly. I am your presider. Doesn't look like we have anyone here for the first time. So I'll... Yeah, first time this Sunday. Okay, so as always, 10% of what we receive goes back out into the community. So we are blessing Unity Canada and Kemp Care Network. And we're going to move to our power for the month. The power for the month of March is wisdom. It's the third of 12 Powers of Man by Charles Fillmore. And the affirmation is, say it with me, I follow Spirit's wisdom for making the right judgments. I am guided by divine wisdom in every thought, word, and action. And can you guess the color? It's yellow. Well, it's supposed to be yellow. And we know that we are wisdom. And so I will invite Emilio to come up to start the song We Come Together. It's written by Eddie Watkins Jr. Take it away.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love and the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Now look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Now feel the love and the sanctuary. And lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. From every walk of life. Every creed and color. We friendship reunite. In honor of the God and each other. So take a look at the person next to you. Say namaste, I bow to you. Now feel the love and the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. Oh, it's not over. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Yay, we did it.
Join me in the consciousness of the One, the I Am. Today I awaken to the possibilities I realize Spirit is always with me as me. It is the creative intelligence behind all things seen and unseen. I shape my experience of life, of love, through my own deep, loving expression. Today I choose to love myself in every way, remembering I am enough. I am worthy. I'm free to make my own choices. I'm always guided, and this love empowers my life. Gratefully, I move forward, getting better every minute. Life is good, and so it is. And we'll sing a song that goes in step with that prayer, I Love Myself the Way I Am, written by J. Joffitz.
I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love you just the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. When I feel the love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your fears, your rage and fears, I see your shining star. And I love you just the way you are. I love the world the way it is, 'cause I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me. So till the birth of peace on earth that only love can bring, I will help it grow by loving everything. I love myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. But change outside can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. Oh yes, I love myself just the way I am. You're beautiful and capable of being the best you can be. And I love you just the way you are. 'Cause I love myself just the way I am. So I can love you just the way you are. And we can love the world just the way it is. That's why I love myself just the way I am.
It's time for the prosperity moment again. Yay! Uh, really excited about what's happening with the prosperity team. We're growing and having a great time getting creative and coming up with ideas. Um, really excited to see so many people sharing their prosperity moments with us as well. So we do meet the second Saturday of every month at 10 a.m., either via Zoom or in person. And lately, we've been doing the book study and also the audiobook of Unleashing the Soul of Money. And it's been phenomenal. So we're going to share it and invite the community to join us on April 13th, one day, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. here at the center, and we'll also do it on Zoom. And it's from 10 a.m. to about 3 p.m. So the audiobook itself is about 2.5 hours. So it'll be a nice time to listen to the audiobook and then have a break and have some community interaction and some fellowship. So April 13th, if you're interested in joining us for Unleashing the Soul of Money, that'd be great. And a lot of nuggets are coming out of this for us. The most important thing, I think, is there's always enough. Our needs are always met. There's always sufficiency. And this isn't just a woo-woo idea. This is also something that is tangible and exists on the planet. And back in the 1970s, Buckminster Fuller, you might have heard of him, he's a thought leader. He was saying, and I've got a quote up here, "It is now highly feasible to take care of everybody on earth at a higher standard of living than we have ever known." It no longer has to be you or me. So we have what exists on this planet is enough for everyone. It's not just an idea, it exists now. And now for the prosperity moment. I've pretty much covered those things. So the prosperity moment, we had a tough time because there was a lot of great ones. And we wanted to really bring forward one that was showing the flow of how it works. So we selected this one, and this person that shared the prosperity moment, we know, and we've known her for a long time. So we wrote a little bit of an intro about it. The story was submitted by a person who is very generous, volunteering her time and talents in the community. She has a dying birch tree on her property. She has had a guest who helped her remove the little library from the tree, and the city removed the tree for free and also removed the stump. She also received several yards of mulch for free, so the entire project came together with ease to meet her needs. And so this is the great example of prosperity, and the good that we give out flows back to us.
And I guess I should keep this and say, if you'd like to share your prosperity experiences and insights with us, here in the center we have prosperity forums, but you can always email Laurie at treasurer@unityspiritualcenter.com. And we're in for a treat today. We have a guest speaker, and his name is Jerome Braggs. So get your pen and paper, because I know he's going to drop some gems. So you want to record those. And let's listen to what Jerome has to say to us today.
I'm Jerome Braggs, and I believe that you can heal yourself from anything, and that self-love is how. And I teach the how. And as I was thinking about what I wanted to speak to you about in this particular video today, I was going through a lot of different things. I have a lot of things in my life that I can share, a lot of wisdom that I've accrued. But I felt like the best thing to do would be to share with you my story about how I came to know that we can heal ourselves from anything, and that self-love is how. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to share with you my own healing journey with self-love, and the three main things that I learned about healing our bodies from anything, particularly from disease and chronic illness. in hopes that you can take something I share with you today for your own journey, especially if you're dealing with some type of chronic illness or disease, or if you will in the future, that could instill in you not just hope, but understanding about how to go about the process of bringing yourself back to the wellness that you desire and so divinely deserve. So, my journey started on January 1st, New Year's Day of 2004. I had just a year before that graduated from college and had moved to Washington, D.C. to get my first job. And after, about a time, several months, we were having, Christmas break, and I was not feeling well. I started to not feel well about 2 weeks before New Year's Eve, and just kind of flu-like symptoms. And I was taking everything I knew how to do. I was doing the chicken soup. I was sleeping and resting. I was taking vitamins. Everything I knew how to do to restore myself to wellness when I experienced something like a cold or a flu. And nothing was working. I wasn't getting any better. And on New Year's Eve, I had called my mother, who is a physician, and I had asked her, she was back in my hometown of Oklahoma, and I had asked her, to prescribe me something, can you give me some type of medicine so I can, get well again, so I can go back to work, because we were going back to work, the next 2 or 3 days. And she told me that you can't really prescribe medicine across state. So she asked me my symptoms, and I told her, and she said, well, why don't you go to the emergency room? They can check you out and give you some medicine. You can get back home and get to work. And so that's what I did. I had somebody take me to the emergency room. And by this time, actually, I was in quite a bit of a pain now. I wasn't just kind of sore all over. I wasn't kind of just feeling some type of fever. I was actually in some pain. And when I got to the hospital, and the emergency room, and the emergency room doctor, saw me and asked me what was going on. I said, I think I might have the flu. And so they started to run some tests, and they did some blood work. And when she left, it was, she said, I'll just be back in a few minutes. Well, when she came back, instead of just being by herself, she had a team of doctors with her, and she had the phone in her hand. And when she came to me and she handed me the phone, she said, you have a call. And when I said, this was very confusing, because one, why is everybody in here? Two, I didn't know anybody for anybody to be, I didn't know anybody in DC other than my coworkers. I didn't have friends and family there yet, so there would be nobody to be calling at the hospital. And when I said hello, I could hear my mother on the other end, and she said, I'll be there in the morning, and she hung up the phone. And I just had this feeling that, okay, this is not the flu. And after I kind of stood there looking at the phone, I'm like, okay, my mother will be here in the morning. And I, offered the phone back to the doctor. The doctors came and they surrounded my bed. And they said, son, you don't have the flu. What you have is kidney failure, pancreatitis, anemia, a fluid-packed lung, 20 pounds of fluid on your body, a parasite in your stomach, and if all that wasn't delicious enough already, you also have AIDS. And it seems that these illnesses and diseases have progressed to a point that we don't know if we're going to be able to save you. So you have about 7 days to live. We're going to try everything we can, but you probably need to start getting your affairs in order. And after they said that, the doctors left me alone in the room, and I began to have this big kind of, shock, as any of us would have if we're just being told that we're going to die when we weren't expecting it. And something began to happen for me, which I now know is what a life review is. Now, as soul beings, when we cross over into the other side, or if you want to call it heaven, or the other dimension, one of the first things that happens when you cross over is you have a life review, where you begin to look at all of your life and how you lived your life, the choices you made in your life, and see, what those choices led to, and you begin to see from a broader perspective, was this in alignment with kind of what your mission was for being here? And was this the way you wanted to live? And so I began to have a sort of life review right there in the bed. My life began to flash through my eyes, all of my life. And there were some questions that began to come up. And at this time, I was on a spiritual path. I was a student of Michael Beckwith. He was my direct mentor at this time. I was 23, and he was a mentor of mine in college. So I had been studying metaphysics and spirituality for a little bit, and had gone to a Unity church and gone to a New Thought church for a few years. So I was in a space where I believed that I was a soul. I fully believed that, and I believed that death wasn't an end to me, that it was going to just be another transition into another experience for my soul. So the idea of dying wasn't something that I was very afraid of. But as I began to go through this life review, I began to see, how I was living my life, and there were some questions that came up in this review. And there was kind of like three main questions, like, had I really been happy in my life? Had I really been myself? Had I expressed the love that I had in my heart for the people I cared about? Had I really expressed that love? And had I really done what I feel like I had come here to do, like what my purpose was, what my mission was? And as, these scenes were just going past my eyes and eyes and eyes, what I began to realize was that I was feeling a sense of terror. I was starting to feel a sense of terror and dread. And the dread and terror wasn't because I was going to die, but because as had gone through this life review, what I realized was the answer to all of those questions was no. I wasn't happy with my life. I wasn't happy. I hadn't shared the love I had in my heart for. There were several people in my life that didn't know how I really felt about them. I had never really been myself. There were parts of myself that I was hiding and suppressing. And I didn't feel like there were things that I really had been calling me to do and that I felt like I was here to do in the world that I wasn't actually doing. And so the terror and the dread wasn't that I was getting ready to die, but that I had realized that I was getting ready to die, never having truly lived. That I hadn't lived this one life that Source, that God, that my soul had given to me to live, and I was getting ready to transition and die, never having, offered this unique expression of my soul into this life, into this world, into this reality. And I had regrets about that. And I wasn't happy. I wasn't myself. I hadn't shared my heart, and I wasn't giving my purpose. And so I felt like I had not lived. And I didn't want to die like that. I did not want to leave my life experience feeling with regret and feeling like I had never really been Jerome. So I made a commitment right there on my deathbed that I wasn't going to die, that I was going to survive, and that I was going to do whatever it takes. And so at that point, I threw everything I knew about creating our own reality at the time. I was a big student of the law of attraction, studied metaphysics, New Thought, all of that. So I understood that, and believed that we create our life experience and that we can move mountains in our favor. But I had been using that type of knowledge before to get $5 to eat when I didn't have, money to eat on a Friday night, or to get a parking space in front of the movie theater when I was running late, or, to get a date on Saturday night. But what I needed this to be true for at this point was a miracle. I needed a miracle, and I needed it to happen in 7 days. And so I threw everything that anybody ever said about how to create your life and how to manifest, what you want and all of that. I did the vision board. I created a little vision board in the hospital because I was in the hospital this whole time, and I was created a little vision board in the hospital. I would meditate in the mornings. I said my affirmations. I created a positivity bubble. So if you came within 6 feet of me, you couldn't tell me any bad news. I did all the things, right? And as the week, so those 7 days went by, I was placed on dialysis. And the doctors were, still touch and go. It could be this week. You made it past this week, but it looks like it may be this week. After a second week went by, well, it may be, maybe you'll go the month. And after that third week went by, well, you're probably going to be on dialysis for the rest of your life. And then after a month, I was released from the hospital. I was on dialysis, and that was going to be the prognosis for the rest of my life. And as I continued, doing the things that I knew, after I got back home from the hospital, I continued all of that for another 2 months. And after 2 months, my body fully healed. There was no HIV or AIDS in my system. They couldn't find the virus anywhere. All the other illnesses had healed and disappeared, and my kidneys were functioning again, and they were taking me off of dialysis. And they were calling me a miracle child. And I was, at this point, I was like, oh, this stuff actually works. Like, we really do. We can create realities, and we can create healings and miraculous healings. And I thought I knew everything about what it took to heal the body and to manifest what we really want. And I thought I really understood all of that until a year and a half after I had fully healed myself. I found myself back in that same hospital with the exact same diagnosis to the T cell count. But this time, instead of 7 days to live, doctor said I had about 48 hours. And when they left me in the hospital room alone again they called my parents to say, catch a red eye right now because you don't have long. And when they left me this time, instead of having a life review, I had 2 questions. And the 2 questions were, I knew that if I had, this illness in my body, again, all these illnesses, all of them, to the T, and they were exactly the same readout, that this wasn't a coincidence, that this was a message, that this was my soul's way of trying to get my attention to something that apparently I had been trying very hard not to pay attention to. And so I wanted to know, my first question was, I wanted to know what that was. What is it that my soul is trying to get my attention to through the health of my body? The second thing was, the second question was, I wanted to know how to truly heal yourself. I wanted to know that. Like, apparently I thought I had it, but I apparently did not, because I'm here back in this hospital dying. And I want to know what it takes to truly heal ourselves. And I want to know fully, right? I don't want to just know to where I keep coming back to the hospital. I want to not, to heal. And to live well. Like, I want a well life, not just a healthy life, but a life that feels good to me, that tastes delicious to me, that fulfills those questions that I had in the first, where I could be facing my death and say, yes, I was happy in my life. Yes, I fulfilled my purpose. Yes, I was my true self. And yes, I expressed the love I have in my heart. I want to know what that takes. And it was shortly after I said that out loud, because I literally said it out loud to the universe in the room, like, please, just, I'm here. I surrender. I don't have anything. I can't go anywhere. Please speak to me, right? Please speak to me. I am surrendered. What do you want me to know? And that is when I began to have what many people call a near-death experience. I began to feel the room went from me being able to tell, like, where it stopped and where I started. Like, it all felt like me. It felt like oneness. It felt like I wasn't just my body, I was everything. And the room got to be like one of the brightest lights I've ever seen. But at the same time, which is kind of still hard to describe, it was also one of the darkest darks I've ever seen. It was like this duality of light and dark at the same time. And then I felt this overwhelming sense of well-being and love. Just like all is well. that I am held and loved and fully seen and accepted beyond anything that like I can even describe with our human emotional terms. It was a sense of just overwhelming love and overwhelming well-being. And the moment I began to feel that, I heard this voice. And the voice sounded a lot like me, but the non-neurotic me, the me that was at ease, the me that was at peace, the me that felt really good about himself. And the voice said to me that the key, and I knew this voice was source. I knew it as source. Like this, you could feel it just reverberating within your beingness that this is source and this is me. And it said to me, the key to the healing that you want and the key to the delicious life that you want is to wholly love yourself. You don't know anything about that yet, but you're going to learn. And what you learn, you're going to teach. This will be your life now. And shortly after that, I began to feel my body, be coming back into the room. Like I went back from me being everything to, okay, I have this body and it hurts. And I began to feel into kind of the lights of the room, the dull hospital lights and the colors of the room. And I knew that I had been given the wake up call moment, the spiritual moment, the big mystic moment of making the choice. And what I knew was if I had the choice to take the path of self-love and heal or to remain the same and die. And I did not want to die. And so I made the decision that I was going to love myself and I was going to learn how to heal through loving myself. And that I was going to learn deeply. I wasn't going to necessarily learn quickly. I was going to learn deeply because, again, I didn't want to keep coming back into the hospital and dying. But I also knew, I had a feeling that this was going to change my life, that I was going to be different, that there was parts of me that were going to die, that parts of me were going to die in this moment, and that there was going to be a new me being born, and I didn't know what that new me was. So there was a part of me that was very afraid of this journey that was laid in front of me. But I also knew that if I wanted to live, I didn't have another choice. So I committed to offering my life over as like a living sacrifice to self-love. And that is when my real healing journey began. Now, when I first started my healing journey, I thought, well, let me back up just 1 second. I didn't know anything about loving myself when I was on that hospital bed dying. I had thought I had before. Like most of the narratives around self-love, I thought it was, when I wear something cute, I compliment myself, or I'll buy something at the mall if I really want it, or, I'll say an affirmation or two. But I knew when I had come out of that near-death experience that this wasn't what Source was talking about, the self-love was. It was much deeper than this. And this was something that I was going to have to learn. I was going to have to throw out everything that I thought I knew about it. And so I want to share with you in this last, sections of this, the 3 things that I learned, particularly about loving ourselves, about illness and loving ourselves, that helped me heal myself again, and that has helped me teach other people around the world how to do the same. So the first thing I learned in this journey was a multi-year journey. It took me many, many years after my near-death experience to really, first, because I had a lot to unlearn. Oh, I'm sorry, my computer went out. But I had a lot to unlearn. And after, I began to unlearn, I began to learn what loving ourselves really is and what disease really is. And the first thing that was truly helpful and truly transformative in my journey, more than the diets I tried, more than all the healing modalities I tried, more than the medicines I was taking, the surgeries I had, This particular thing was the foundational key. And that was understanding that disease is not a medical condition, it is a spiritual condition, it is an energetic condition. And what I mean by that is we are taught mostly that when an illness, chronic illness or disease shows up in the body, it has done that randomly, or it has done that by genetics, or it has done that by something we're eating. And that is something that is out of our control, and that we definitely are not taught through our current medical lexicon that this particular disease has a message for us. But what I found out was that it isn't that something is wrong with the body. It is because something is missing from the body. And what is missing from the body is the soul, is the spirit. More specifically, what's missing is the energy of the soul. So what was missing from my body was the energy of my soul. And the energy of our soul, the essence of our soul, is love. It is unconditional love. That is what we are literally made of. That is what we are made from. That is where we return to. Like when I crossed over into the other side, that's all that dimension felt like, was unconditional love. That was all that the version of me that was speaking to me, that was source. That is all that felt like. It was all it sounded like. We are love energy incarnate. We are literally the love energy wearing t-shirts and jeans. And what ends up happening is our soul creates our body to house the energy of itself and to allow the energy of itself to experience life in physical form. So, but what ends up happening is there are things that can happen to us through our lives. There are beliefs that we can hold. There are behaviors that we can offer and emotions that we can carry that starve us of the energy of love, that either block us from it or drain us from it or separate us from it. And so pieces of our soul are not fully in our body. Pieces of our soul's energy is not fully in our body. So what I understood, the first thing I had to understand was that instead of disease being this punishment or this enemy that I had to fight against, it was an indicator that I had been running too low on my soul's energy. And that in order to heal myself, I had to learn how to fuel my body with my soul's energy. I had to learn how to nourish my body with my soul's energy instead of deplete and diminish it. And this leads me into the second piece, core piece of understanding here, because this is how I began to understand how I had been depleting my soul's energy from my body and why I had manifested this illness. I hadn't created this illness from intention. Like this wasn't, none of us, no person would create suffering for themselves intentionally. But just like when we get 2 + 2, it always equals 4, there's also a formula for the health of our bodies, and that is to be in energy surplus, to be in love energy surplus, your soul's energy surplus in the body. And if it gets depleted in any type of way, and especially if it gets depleted chronically, like we live a life where it is chronically depleted, it is chronically diminished, it is chronically malnourished of our soul's energy, our body cannot sustain health that way, and it cannot heal when it's already ill. What it needs, the very source of the body's health, and the very nourishment for our body that allows it to heal itself even more than the food we eat, is the energy of our soul, is the energy of love. This is why all the sages and the mystics across time have said love is our greatest medicine. This is really true. What you're really saying is my soul is my medicine. My soul is my greatest medicine. It is my greatest nourishment. And when I am disconnected from my soul, I cannot be well. So that is number one, right? That disease is not so much a medical condition as it is a spiritual condition. It is a lack of my soul's energy in my body. The second thing I learned that really helped me heal was what my true diagnosis was. Like, what I mean by that is how I really am. Like, if we understand that the root cause of illness, chronic illness and disease, is lack of our soul's energy, then my real diagnosis is how I'm lacking in my soul's energy. And what happened in my journey afterwards is I began to several intuitive abilities and psychic gifts open for me. And one of the things that began to open for me was medical intuition. And I was able to really see the energy of people's bodies and speak to it and hear it. And especially when they were having an illness, the body would speak and it would say what was happening and what this illness was, what it was actually, what was actually causing it. And time again, I would see that people were lacking in certain vibrations, and that this lack of these vibrations were making them sick. And this, as I began to study this over many, many years, I began to understand what I needed to do, like what my actual diagnosis was, and what I began to need to do to heal. And here was the thing that I understood is that love energy is a multifaceted energy. So we've often been taught that love means affection, but it's so much more than that. It is a multifaceted energy, meaning it has several different aspects that make up the whole of it. Like if it's a pie, it has several pieces in the pie that make up the whole pie. And there are 5 core vibrations that make up what love energy is. And they are worthiness, freedom, ease and peace, interchangeably, bliss, and empowerment. And when we are lacking in one of these vibrations, when we don't feel a sense of worthiness, when we don't feel a sense of freedom, instead we feel bondage, or instead of worthiness we feel shame, instead of bliss we feel depressed or sad, instead of empowerment we feel disempowered. When we do not feel these vibrations within us chronically, and we begin to chronically feel something that disconnects us from those feelings, and those vibrations are, said another way, are emotional states. When we don't feel that, we are lacking in our soul's energy. And when we do that for too long, our bodies begin to shut down. And so how do you discover your true diagnosis? Our medical systems give these things names, and while that can be a little helpful for you, it's not really going to tell you the root cause of what's happening and what you need to do to heal. And so for me, what I discovered was, and how you do that is, how does this illness make me feel? How does this disease or how does this illness make me feel? How do I feel emotionally? How do I feel physically? And so for me, like for example, HIV made me feel ugly, and it made me feel unwanted, and it made me feel unlovable. And what you do is, again, you write those things down. You write, like, what are the emotions that come up around, how does this experience make you feel? And how have you been feeling that before? So I was teased a lot as a kid for being a thicker kid. And I was made to believe ever since I was very young, like 5 years old, that my body as it was unwanted, and it was unlovable, and it didn't belong, and that there was something wrong with it. I also realized that I was attracted to the same gender when I was 5 years old. And at that same time, I also felt like something was wrong with me as I am. So I grew up for a long time with the feeling of there's something wrong with me and I am not enough, which starved me from 5 years old of a feeling of worthiness, which is a part of love, which is a part of my soul. Kidney failure, one of the things with kidney failure is I didn't feel free. I had to go to dialysis 3 times a week. I couldn't travel like I wanted to. I couldn't exercise and do the things I really wanted to. I felt like I was in bondage a bit, and that I wasn't happy. I had been feeling in bondage and not happy for a long time. I've been feeling bondage because I was hiding my sexuality. I was not being my true self. I was trying to hide it, that I wasn't putting on a mask like I was something else. And I wasn't pursuing my real dreams. I was working a 9-to-5 job, but I really wanted to be a singer at that time. And I really wanted to be an actor at that time. And I thought I also wanted to teach spirituality, what I was learning about spirituality at that time. And I wasn't doing any of that. And I started to feel stuck, and I started to feel imprisoned in my own life. And I was feeling that way for a while. So this was a reflection. That's another thing. The disease is always an external reflection of how you are internally feeling and what you are internally believing about, particularly about yourself. So HIV was a reflection of the shame that I had for myself. It was a reflection of me feeling unlovable, unwanted, and not enough. And like there was something wrong with me, right? And there's something wrong with my body. And kidney failure was a reflection of the bondage that I felt and the not doing what made me happy. And so, what you do once you get your true diagnosis is this is how I am lacking in my soul's energy, because my soul's energy is bliss, not unhappiness. My soul's energy is freedom, not bondage. My soul's energy is worthiness and not shame. So this is how I've been holding myself from this for a while, and this is why this disease has manifested as a reflection of that. That is, my body has been starved of love in this way. And the last part that I wanted to share with you is the key to healing yourself is now, instead of starving your body of love in the ways that you were, once you got your true diagnosis, you can see this is how I've been starving myself of love. This is what my disease is reflecting. The key to healing yourself is to begin to give yourself the opposite energy, right? So instead of shame and feeling not enough, the key to healing myself from HIV was to begin to feel celebratory of myself, to accept my body and my sexuality as it was, and to begin to appreciate it, to see value in it, to feel pride in it, and to no longer hold shame around it. And the key to healing, and that was the aspect of loving myself that I needed. I needed to have appreciation and acceptance for my body and my sexuality. And I needed to no longer perceive myself or speak about myself or behave about myself from a space of feeling like there is something wrong with me. To shift that into the energy of there's only everything right with me. And for kidney failure, to begin to live my truth, to express who I truly am, so that there is nothing in bondage about me. There are no secrets, and there is nothing hidden. There's nothing suppressed. There's only expression, which is freedom. And also to begin to do what I really want to do, right? To begin to live a life that I really wanted to live and stop living my life by obligation and responsibility and start living it by passion and joy and desire. And that began to fuel my body with the feelings of the emotions and vibrations of bliss and freedom and worthiness. And this is when my body began to have miraculous healings. I did the green juice diets. I did the alkaline vegan diets. I did every healing modality you can think about. And those things had small and incremental benefits. They were beneficial to me. I did feel better with those things. I did improve smallly, but they never fully got me to a full healing. My full healing didn't actually begin to take place and begin to implement again until I began to do the work of becoming filled more with love, becoming filled more with the vibrations of love, with the vibrations of my soul's energy. And the more I began to feel nourished with my soul's energy and not depleted of it, my body began to heal miraculously again. And to my doctor's surprise, to everybody around me surprised. And that is how I knew that love is the medicine. Love is always the medicine. Your soul's energy, the essence of your soul, is your greatest medicine. And the reason you're sick is not because you ate the wrong things or the genetics. It is because somehow the way you have been living has been starving you of your soul's energy. It has been starving you of love. One of the 5 vibrations of love, if not several of them. And the way to heal yourself is to bring love back into the body, to feel it more chronically. Like, I feel chronically worthy. I feel chronically free. I feel chronically blissful. And those vibrations breathe wellness through me instead of steal it away from me. And so I wanted to share this with you. There's more, but in honor of your time and mine, I just wanted to share those 3 things with you, that disease is not a medical condition as much as it is a spiritual condition. The key to healing is to discover your true diagnosis and use that information to take the path of self-love that you most need so that you nourish your body with your soul's energy instead of deplete it. I hope this has helped you understand a little bit more about the path of healing yourself and who you really are and what you really need. Until next time, thank you. I love you. Now go love yourself.
What's your takeaway today? Anyone? Yeah. Diana, she'll figure out what she's ignoring. And I'm okay if you thought, because there's a lot there. Now, the sheet that you should have received that has a summary also of some of the points that he made. My takeaway, of course, there are three things. That disease is an indicator that you've been running low on your soul's energy. I always say, if we treated ourselves the way we treated our cars, we'd be in really good shape. Because we don't muck around with a car that's low on fuel, right? You never get to where you want to go. I'm also taking away, I wrote the word prescription. My soul is my greatest medicine. And lastly, the key to healing is to give yourself the opposite energy. So the beauty is we have that on tape. You can tell how old I am. We can go back and look at it if we'd like, because there's a lot there. All right. Now, we've come to the point of conscious giving. And as always, we are appreciative of everything that we have received from you. And as you give to us, we give back out, as you saw at the beginning of the service. Now, you can give to us by way of e-transfer if you're not in the sanctuary. And the email address is admin@spiritualcenter.com. And what we do is everything that you give to us is used to grow our ministry. So your gifts are well used. I know we have our affirmation up there, but I wondered if you would say this one with me. So place your hand on heart and repeat, I am a blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all I give and all I receive. I bless this gift, send it forth to heal and prosper. It does amazing work in the world and comes back to me multiplied. I am so blessed, and so it is. Amelia, power. Obviously a favorite. Jerome Braggs, or Braggs. Braggs with an S.
We woke up 1 hour early this morning. One power, one power, one power. There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. Well, whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. We speak so many languages, have different clothing, different colors, different names. But different is only dangerous when we forget that in our hearts we're all the same. And we'll remember when we close our eyes to see that distances were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem or heaven's door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth or Father Time. Well, whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, oh, one power, one power. One power, one power, one power. It's the moment of creation. It's an everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. It's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby, the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon for its love that's most deep. It's one power, one power. What we are is one power. It's the power of the love that lives forever in you and me. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power.
I think I can hear the people at home clapping for you. Indeed, powerful. We're here to pray with you, and you may send us an email with your request through prayer@unityspiritualcenter.com. We're coming to a close today. So let's say the prayer of protection together. The light of God surrounds you. I am the light. The love of God enfolds you. I am the love. The power of God protects you. I am the power. The presence of God watches over you. I am the presence. Wherever you are, God is. Wherever I am, God is. And all is well. Please remember next week is our potluck. The response to our potluck is overwhelming, all the wonderful goodies that we have to eat. So come with your taste buds sharpened and something to share with everyone. And our final song, Stand Together, written by Faith Rivera and Harold Payne.
Something great is happening. Love has taken hold and it won't let go of us now. Something here is calling us forward, upward motion. The drops in one ocean roll on. Will you rise up with me today? Lift up your voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Lift the lip of the highest calling, be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's the moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Every day's a chance you can do something amazing, to feel your passion blazing and shine. Faith with every vision, dance in new direction, explode to your heights in your mind. I will rise up with you today, lift up my voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Live the dream of your highest calling, be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's the moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. One dream, one voice, one heart, one world, one dream, one voice, one heart, one world, one dream, one voice, one heart, one world. Live the dream of your highest calling, be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together. Live the dream of your highest calling, be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Live the dream of your highest calling, be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's the moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Everybody stand together. Everybody, let's stand together now.
That's the crescendo if I ever heard one. thank you everyone for joining us today. We were truly blessed today, and we're going to see you next week. Be safe and know that we love you. Bye now.